On April 11th, the government signed an MOU with the government of China, officially joining the Belt and Road Initiative, sometimes called the One Belt, One Road Initiative. We've not got much details about what this really means. Last week, I think it was, we saw a release and some pictures of the Minister of Foreign Affairs signing on to the Belt and Road Initiative, which was deepening the economic relationship, it said, in the brief caption I saw of the picture. But we really got no details of what new commitments have been made, or what new agreements have been made. And I think something like that, Prime Minister, there should be a ministry paper tabled in this house or in the upper house, laying out for the country exactly what the implications of that are. But in the meantime, based on some questions I asked the Prime Minister in Parliament on Tuesday about the very, again, vague announcement of a joint venture agreement between the Factories Corporation and China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, we got a fair amount of information about two massive new projects which the government, as good as it is with PR, has not offered voluntarily any information about. These two projects are the gov't Technology Park, a $75 million project, and the Morant Bay Town Center project, which is essentially converting the old Goodyear factory property in Morant Bay to a big office complex, commercial complex, that will take all the government agencies that now operate in Morant Bay. These could be good projects, and we'll see how they play out. But there are some principles that I keep hammering away at that I think should apply to all these projects. The first is fairness. Our local contractors, our local construction professionals, and our local construction workers must be at least on a level playing field to participate and to compete for these projects. Currently, all these projects financed by China Exim Bank or China Development Bank have one sole contractor, a Chinese state-owned enterprise, that gets all the business. They may subcontract some, but they get, and then they determine what they keep and what they share. This does not guarantee the second principle, which is value for money. Procurement experience by governments the world over, as well as the private sector, show that a competitive bidding situation forces companies to sharpen their pencils and put their best price on the table. We see experience in Malaysia in this very Belt and Road Initiative, where on their East Coast rail link, when a new government was elected last year and there was much outcry about the price of the rail link, again, being constructed by the parent company of CHEC. The new government was able to renegotiate 1/3 savings, a savings of $5.2 billion on one project. And that demonstrates the importance of having some kind of competitive guarantee of value for money. And the final issue, of course, the final principle is transparency. These are massive transfers of Jamaican resources, 2.5 billion Jamaican dollars in this case, going into a joint venture which is going to be dominated by CHEC. The Jamaican public and the Jamaican taxpayers deserve to know all the details of these projects, not just because an individual MP ferrets them out with questions in Parliament, but because it is the right thing to do.
The present announcement that the town centre of Morant Bay is going to be removed from its historic and important heritage site, where it stands as an icon to social justice for all Jamaicans, is very concerning. The other area of concern, great concern, is the fact that no ecological or environmental issues have been considered in the idea that this site should be placed in a floodplain. I speak as a former chairman of the Jamaican National Heritage Trust, because the idea of Paul Bogle and what he stood for, and the hundreds of people who died for social justice, are being sullied by the idea that the courthouse site and the Paul Bogle Memorial Gardens, which we restored recently, are no longer going to be significant as a part of the town centre. The other real concern is that much of Morant Bay, in fact all of Morant Bay and its environs, east and west, are fed by the water that is being pumped from the site of which the town center is to be built. And the concern is not only that we may damage the ecological site, but at the same time we may poison it by putting effluent in there and lowering the levels to the point where seawater could possibly become an inclusion into the drinking water for Morant Bay and its people. This is not to sound that we are against any development for the parish or the proper use of that particular site. What we have is a very crowded town center today, and we want to suggest that the better use of that site is to use the existing buildings and move it in to become a major market center for all of St. Thomas, and clear the center of the Morant Bay so that people can visit it comfortably.
PR alone is not sufficient for good governance. We must have full transparency and disclosure of government operations to achieve that.